Right. This month, go and watch April's episode. Okay. I'm using the iMac camera, which is like 720p, crappy nonsense. And I'm using the microphone from the iMac as well. This month, as I promised, the image quality will be better. And I'm actually, see, the blue light is on. So you're actually getting the audio quality from this microphone. Now, I just need something to talk about, I guess. All this gear, no idea. I also need to make my background much better. So it's coming in stages. Okay. So there we are. Right. Okay. So while we wait for people to come in, if you're watching on the replay, don't forget that if you want to be bugged by a notification, I know it's very fashionable now to turn off notifications and delete apps, things like that. But I'm looking at the camera, but I should be speaking here. If you're interested in any of that, then don't forget to tap the bell to get the notifications. Hello, Kevin, and hello, Beatrice, the Periscope alumni who have graduated from a failed platform onto an even worse platform. Does that mean you don't like YouTube? Yeah, I fucking hate YouTube. Honest. No, it's okay. It's okay for the moment because I'm not doing anything political, so it's fine. If I just self-censor, it's okay. I don't have to worry about it, anything like that. So there we are. Right, let me put out my list and see what we've got going on here. Although I have been asked to join Heckle, which is made by someone called Simon Pickup. Do you remember Simon? He was always in Ron Waxman's live streams, and he has started his own app. He's put his money where his mouth is and started his own live streaming app with this third-party company. And I was invited through Chewbacca, if you remember him from Periscope. Stop name dropping. John McCartney said never name drop. Okay, sorry. He said jump on and then you can do your thing on Heckle. But the problem is anything I do on Heckle isn't going to add to the watch time on this platform, is it? Unless I specifically do throw away things on Heckle just to get people on here, and they go, "Oh, I remember that guy from YouTube, from Periscope. He's a prick. I'm going to go and block him now on YouTube." And then I don't get anybody really, do I? So probably not worth the time. Right, let's have a look at what people are saying already. Hi. Lunar eclipse tonight. Thank you, Kevin. Didn't know that, obviously. I really didn't. You know that. The mic set is awesome. My voice is a force of nature. We're just doing chit chat here until everybody else gets here. My voice is a force of nature. But I've got two pop filters right here. I've got one sellotape to the other. So I had to spend 160 Hong Kong dollars on two pop filters just so you don't get the P's and the T's and the B's and the K's and anything else that might interfere with the microphone. So yeah, got it. I got it sorted. Look at that. Okay, you can see it. Sellotaped. Okay, right. I fucked it up now. Cheers, Bayshaw. Right. I don't think you'd like Heckle. Okay, Paula, then that's fine. Here we are. We're doing our shizzle on YouTube, aren't we? Justin says, I finally gave up and uninstalled Clubhouse. Yeah, hasn't got a long shelf life. It's probably even shorter than Periscope's. Or the media has become more savvy to Clubhouse than they were with Periscope, because Periscope was seen as the next great thing. But I'll tell you something, in about a year's time, if we're still talking about Periscope, everybody else who's joined the channel will be like, what the fuck is this Periscope thing? Because it's consigned to the ashes of history already. And a year from now, I'll be even further buried. And it's like, who's this elite clique of people talking about this app that we know nothing about? It doesn't matter. You should have been here in 2020. I was. My grand just died of COVID though. Okay. Justin says, I changed my name because there's too many Daves on YouTube and I just wanted something original. Okay, it's original, but I don't know which fucking Dave you were. Were you second Dave? Because you're not Dave. Oh, I thought you were on about Pete. Ignore me. It doesn't matter. Right, okay. Right, let's talk a little bit about Hong Kong, since some of you know that I live here in Hong Kong. There's an article by the Hong Kong Free Press, which is probably the best place to get news that is untainted, unless you like your news with a little bit of taint, in Hong Kong. And the headline reads, unused COVID jabs may be binned as Hong Kongers shun vaccine drive. Basically, as the second paragraph states, Hong Kong is one of the few places in the world fortunate enough to have secured more than enough doses to inoculate its entire population of 7.5 million people. But swirling distrust of a certain GOV as it stamps out dissent, combined with online misinformation and a lack of urgency in the comparatively virus-free city, has led to entrenched vaccine hesitancy and a dismal inoculation drive. And they've said that the task force has said that Hong Kongers only have a 3-month window before the city's first batch of Pfizer-BioNTech vaccines go out of date because they've only got a limited shelf life. I've had my second jab. That knocked me out for the day. That was fun to be sick. I haven't been ill since the end of 2018. So when I woke up on a Saturday morning, I had a headache and just felt really tired, but I couldn't lose any money because I'm on pay as you go. So I went to work, and then just when I came home, I just copied CDs and listened to Star Trek music at home, and I didn't want to do anything. And the reason why it was specifically Star Trek music is because I've bought $180 worth of music, including delivery, for the Star Trek podcast that I'm making, and I needed original music to copy theft and put it on my podcast, so it'll get demonetized on YouTube later. Okay, so they can put ads out on my work, on my original work. Right. What do you mean, Kevin? Really? You got to give me context. You got to give me content. You've got loads of space now to type stuff in the comments. I need the context. Otherwise, I don't know what one word means. Oh, well, Hong Kong has now got 37 million dosages out of 7 COVID-19 vaccines. Okay, I don't know how many we've bought, but what I do know is that out of a population of 7.5 million, only 900,000 people have got their vaccine. And the government has said, if you don't get the vaccine, then we can't lift some of the restrictions. One of them being you can wear fewer masks in this city, which is like, okay, that's fine. It's not really a big deal, though, for a lot of Hong Kong people. So when you're saying, oh, if you don't want to wear masks, get inoculated, most people don't care about the masks. If anybody cares, it's the Americans. That's not a rip on any Americans watching, by the way. I'm just saying, bro. They're the ones that are usually in the news complaining about not breathing and repression and socialism and stuff about masks. we don't give a. My hands are up in the air. There you go. We don't give a fuck about those things. So no, Hong Kong government secured 37 million. That's a bit overkill, isn't it? That's a bit overkill. 37 million dosages. Okay. There's a great podcast. Let me throw it into the chat because we can do that now on YouTube. Who did I listen? Okay, I remember it. Let's go to Rex Friedman podcast. So you're going to have to exit and then come back in, I guess, if you want to, or just save the link. But there was a discussion with Sam Harris. Don't listen to him. He's a racist. He's a neuroscientist. That makes him a fascist. Let me throw it in. It's actually a YouTube video. Shit, I'm recommending YouTube. Okay, there's timestamps involved. But if you go to the 1 hour 55 minute mark, let me just get to the comment. If you go to the 150 minute mark, there's a chapter called Ego, and basically they talk about how unbelievable it's taken a certain country in this world to get around the idea that we've got this issue and it needs resolving, and we all need to come together on this issue in order to solve that issue, and nobody wants to. Even after over a year, people are still debating it, and then there's tangentially other conversations that people are in denial about. But it's a really good conversation about how we are unprepared for something. If was the COVID is a rehearsal for something, we've done very poorly. And if a real calamity hits us, what are we going to do about that? So check it out. Yes, Paula, that's very true. Other countries can't get enough of them. It's safe for you to talk about that was nicely timed. They're coming for me right now. I've locked the door. That'll give me an extra few precious seconds, but they're drilling in right now to come and get me because I mentioned the word government. I won't do it again. I won't do it again. I promise. I promise. Kevin James says China, People's Republic of China, is halfway vaccinated its mainland population. I actually have a guest at the moment in the other room, an Airbnb, and she is a Hong Kong resident, but she comes from Fujian, and she didn't need to do the 14 days because she's got the vaccine, the Sinovac vaccine, so she's allowed across the border without quarantine. So there we are. Right, let's go back onto. So no, that link, Lex Friedman. It's always an interesting, thoughtful podcast. If you've not listened to it, I definitely suggest you check it out. Although by the time you get to 2 hours 40, they're talking about UFOs and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So turn it off from there. In summary, we have more than enough jabs. People aren't taking them up, and those vaccines are going to expire soon, which is a waste considering there are countries that need a vaccine. Right, that's done. Oh, and this is in a city. There's a reason why there's a little bit of apathy, is that this city has only had 210 deaths out of 7 million, and only rounding up 12,000 cases, and that's since January last year. So most people are just like, well, I'll just wear the mask. We'll do the social distancing, and that's fine. That's enough for them. And that is something, yeah, that's the GOV coming in right now, because I locked the door. So they can't get in. So they've got to drill in. That's the joke. What was I saying before I distracted myself with so if there's not that many cases, most people are like, oh, I don't want it anyway, or I don't trust it, on top of not needing it because most people don't have the virus here, right? Well, in fact, when I was ill for the day, I wanted some sugar and I went to a Japanese restaurant. Why did you say Japanese? That's racist. It was Japanese restaurant. They sold matcha. Okay, Japanese people sell matcha, and they had matcha ice cream. So I had a hankering for matcha ice cream, and I tripped the temperature sensor. But I did it with my hand first, which showed a lower temperature, and then I did it with my head, and they did not say get out. They didn't get rid of me. They just reset the machine. They didn't really care, and I was thinking, well, that's bizarre. And it was the first time I've heard the alarm go off. It's like a police car. But then that made me think, oh, imagine if this has happened more than once and most people just don't care, the staff that is, and they've let you in, and then you wonder why some places have a little outbreak because they're just ambivalent about it because there's so few cases here. It's like, okay, but I had a fever because of the vaccine, not because of the COVID. But I wanted someone to at least say what's going on here, because I did get stopped by security in a building I had to go to for work on the same day. And she stopped me, and I had to show her the document in Chinese, what I was doing with a fever. Kevin is going to make a joke, pop culture joke related to the drilling by saying, did someone invite King Kong Godzilla to the dentist? Well done, Kevin. I think that reference is going to be understood by everybody at the moment. Justizen says, from my biased American perspective, I don't understand why people are concerned enough about COVID to wear masks and quarantine, but not willing to get the vaccine. We're not logical, are we? It's just the way it is. It's kind of strange. They talk about I don't want to talk too much about it, but people are not logical in weighing up the risks, are not very good at doing risk assessments. And if they're saying, oh, this amount of people will die from this vaccine, but they forget that the vaccine, the virus is deadlier. So what's that about? But maybe they think they have control over who they can see and not see, so that it gives them a false sense of security. Well, if I stay away from him, if I stay away from these liberals, then I'm going to be fine. If I stay away from the gays, I'm going to be fine. That kind of thing. If I don't go into that ice cream shop, I'll be fine. If I go into the gun shop, I've got immunity. Whatever. I'm just joking. But there's something there where I'm speaking about if you think you have some idea of control over yourself, then of course you're not going to get the vaccine. But once you inject that vaccine inside you, you have no control over what it can do. And we've even had people here die, and the media have talked about, oh, well, they got the vaccine. And it creates a little bit of hysteria even here, where people are saying, oh, I'm not getting the vaccine. And on the day I felt sick and I went to this person's house, there was a domestic worker there saying, oh, this other domestic worker died. It was in the news, blah, 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 blah. And I said, okay, that's one person who died, but I've got it and I've just got mild symptoms. So in that, if you're trying to weigh it up, you've got one person died and one person got mild symptoms. It's 50-50. Now, obviously, it's not 50-50. But if you look at all the other successes and all the things that aren't reported in the media, if they say there's 5 people died, but there's nearly 900,000 people who've got the vaccine, then logically it's safer, isn't it? It's like rounding up, like what, 6 in 1 million chance of dying. But you can't really know what their death was attributed to. They're just saying they got the vaccine. So we're not logical in that regard. Right, what's well, the comments are on fire, guys. There's 6 people here, and this chat is busier than it is on Periscope. What does that say about maybe the implementation of the comment system? Stop referencing Periscope. It's going to age your videos so quick. Americans don't believe a vaccine that doesn't take years to develop. FYI, I've got the shot. Urban Stack, oh, that comment was from Beatrice. Urban Stack says, you can't control what happens if you get the real Rona, either if you are unvaxxed. Yes, and shout out to Costa V, who's saying hello to me, because I'll stop any live stream for a shout out, by the way. I'll carry that over from Periscope. Stop mentioning Periscope. Right. That's the second jab mentioned. I got it. Rhea, by the way, hasn't got her second jab. She's I'm not trying to throw her under the bus, but she did say that she sees no point in getting the vaccine. So make of that what you will. Okay. It isn't, she's just not interested in doing it. Otherwise, fun little aside, I talk a little bit of tech because Chad Dixon will watch this on the replay. I got myself a 970 Evo. It's not a car part. And I got an 870 Cuvo or QVO. This one's a Blade SSD and this one's a normal SSD. And then I got myself a processor that doesn't work. I went to Carousel, which is like eBay for Hong Kong, and I bought this processor off this 15-year-old kid last year. And he says it works, it's fine. And I checked the contacts on the back, and I was like, yeah, it looks okay. And then I went to take it to the shop, and I thought, hang on, these contacts don't look right. I've still got it, I think. I've got it somewhere. Where is it? Well, oh, here it is. So I spent just around $200 on this little processor. And hopefully you can see it, but at this side, at the bottom here, if you have a look, the contacts have worn away. I know it's out of focus. I'm trying my best. Anyway, fucking hell. That's definitely broken now. But the guy at the shop tested it on six motherboards. Didn't work. And then in the process, I discovered a new part of Shamshai Po where there's a secondhand shop, a secondhand emporium of computer parts. And I actually got one. This is why everything's working right now on the iMac. So upgraded. Got the guy to upgrade the processor, the 2 SSDs, banged it into here so I can do faster video editing. And it flies. This machine is just amazing and it makes no sound whatsoever. Oh, so I was out of action for the day with the iMac. No problems, touch wood. Cross my fingers. And that is in conjunction with a review I did for a hub. Now, I didn't expect anybody to watch it. What I was hoping for was to attract an outside audience to pick up that video and maybe get 200 or 300 views off it. seems to be doing a slow burn because I just want to get the watch time up. And I don't do a lot of reviews as it is anyway. But the video, I think, is just being watched by you guys because it isn't doing that. It isn't doing it spectacular, but it isn't doing badly either. And people seem kind of interested in it. So I don't know what that's about. Oh, speaking of videos, I'm going to do a live stream tomorrow. So we've got this one, and then the live stream, and then I've got another edited video to put out. So getting there with getting this channel back up to monetization. Is that all you care about? Well, it is motivating, but it's not the only thing I care about. Is it? Yeah. Tell me something, since 6 of you are here, you represent the hardcore. Which videos don't you watch? Which videos are you not interested in? If I'm doing like a tech review, I'm doing a zero waste video, or I'm doing a loose rants podcast, but I'm trying to visualize it, or something about Hong Kong, which one is the most interesting for you out of the 7 people that are here? Hello, Tim Beers. Welcome. I'm here for another 20 minutes or so. I don't want to talk for too long. I'll await your feedback, because that's what I'm going to do from now on. Just podcast, anything on the podcast I can insert onto the channel, zero waste, Hong Kong, and then the odd random video. What time is the live stream? This is the live stream. I do, Bayshore. I know what your favorite is. I like them all. Okay. Then what is that about? As a fledgling creator who isn't big enough yet to start an OnlyFans, what is that about? Is that just about being interested in what I'm up to and the location? I'm still waiting for the day someone's going to talk about my glasses for the first time on YouTube. We're going to wait. You know, we've got a new audience member. Bro, I've never seen those glasses before. What are they about? Justin says, I watch all your videos except the USB hub since I don't need a USB hub right now. Well, excuse me, sir, but it's a USB 4 hub and Thunderbolt 4 hub. Okay. Order for me, live streams, podcasts, tech, zero waste. Okay, thank you. I'm not going to go outside that. I'm not going to do anything other than those 4 things on this channel, because that's mostly what's in my wheelhouse. Sorry, my table is really wonky. I like live and Hong Kong tours, chat mainly. Okay, thank you, Paula. I haven't thought of a place to go to yet for tomorrow. No, Odie. Let me just check. I've got the website here because I knew somebody would mention it. Let's look at the cases. The website that I normally go to, if anyone's interested. Let me just drop it into the chat because it's so effortless to do that now. And you know what? I thought it was a hindrance, but to live stream like this, you need Chrome. And I thought, okay, I hate Chrome because it spies on you and it's a Google thing. But if I'm doing YouTube, then I mean, what exactly am I complaining about? Because YouTube is Google. So I've got the Chrome up, which is how you're looking at this. But what's nice is that I can have Safari open with all the links. So it's actually really good for the workflow. You bring a unique perspective to all your videos. Thank you very much. Thank you. So that's the website I check out. And you just tap English at the top corner. And when it comes to cases, let me just check. Oh, does it? The only issue I didn't know this. It says Justin, the only issue with YouTube on mobile is that it stops the video when you open a link. Well, yes, I think what you'd need is picture-in-picture, which you've got to pay the YouTube Premium for, and then it doesn't. Just like with Netflix, as soon as you tap out of Netflix, it'll show you the minimized video. So yeah, you got to pay for that feature. So maybe just copy and paste it for later. So I don't think there's any spikes. Let me just check here. Today is the 26th in Hong Kong. The last case was on the 24th. And that was 1 case. And then on 23rd, we had 2. And then on the 22nd, we had 1. And then on 21st, we had 1. On the 20th, we had 1. 19th, 18th, 17th, 16th. Oh no, 19th, 18th, and 17th we had 1. And then on the 16th we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. So it spiked 10 days ago with 4 people. So it's I think it's fine here for the most part. And there are more and more people I've noticed who are not wearing a mask in public or in a mall. I don't know why, but that seems to be the case. Hooked, yes, Hooked is open. KV, thank you for asking. Sure, Matthew appreciates that reference on YouTube. First reference on YouTube. He's going to be famous now. What is the percentage of fully vaccinated adults? Maybe you came in late, KV, but if we've got a population of 7.5 million, we've only got 900,000 that are vaccinated, and I'm one of them. Right? So it's not really a lot. If anything, the Americans and the British, as a greater whole of the population, are more vaccinated as a percentage of the overall population. She needs to get the first one first, Kevin. Never mind the second. Right, I'm going to talk to you about something that is probably closer to a lot of you in terms of interest. But the podcast that I'm writing for, the Star Trek podcast. I'm not going to talk about Star Trek. The chip shop, Beatrice, it's a chip shop. Hooked is a chip shop, New Zealand chip shop. I have a character who is Native American, and I want to do this character justice. Maybe you already know where this is going, but I want to do this character justice. And so I'm trying to find people who are willing to help and help me get educated. Educate yourself, bro, which is what I'm trying to do. And it's very confusing, the response that I've gotten from Reddit. There's a specific group called r/Indian country. And you've got to fill out this form to get access to the people who are on there who could possibly help you. And they've got this form for protective reasons, because they don't want anybody just going there and saying, hey, I'm writing this story and I need input from someone who's an Indian. It sounds so bad, doesn't it? Which it is. And so I had this dialogue with this person, and I've done some research. And basically, the answer has been, you need to do more research before you can get someone to help you with your story. And in my head, I'm thinking, well, I'm a clean slate because I'm not an American, so I don't have any preconceptions about Native Americans. And so it's like a chicken and the egg scenario. I've got to do more research to get access to a person to make the story faithful. But if I just got access to the person, then I could do the research more quickly and then write a more faithful, more accurate account of what this Native American person is going to do in my story. Now it's set 500 years into the future. So I just want to touch on it gently, but they're very protective. And it's just slowing me down in terms of writing, which is annoying, but at the same time, I'm hitting resistance because they want to protect themselves. And the attitude is only write about what you know, which I don't actually like as a philosophy, because I don't think that's correct. Because if you only write about what you know, then all you're going to do is establish your identity on other people. And if there's already not enough, yeah, I'm saying it right, not enough books and literary examples of white people telling the world how it is, then all you're doing is propagating that. So then that also means, because I've got students who I help with their writing, that also means that my 16-year-old Chinese girl student, that means she can only write about Chinese women, and she's not even a woman yet. Like, there's got to be some kind of learning. I get what they're saying. It's not your culture, so don't write about it. But at the same time, it's not entirely feasible if you have a great interest in it, and if you're approaching it from a way where it's respectful and it's honest because you've got the input from other people. Then I don't think there should be a problem. When already I'm outside of my wheelhouse, I'm already in Hong Kong. There's things that I say that probably Kevin says in the back of his mind, probably that's wrong, but he lets it slide, or he'll actually correct me. But you're coming here for a perspective of a Westerner, obviously, as a minority in an Asian city. If Kevin was really diehard, then he would just obviously go and find someone who's Chinese doing their live streaming in Hong Kong. And then I go into Masterclass, which is that paid for service to get educated by other people. And there's this black lady who I'm listening to at the moment, and I basically agree with her, who's saying if you are going to take elements of another culture, you've got to do it in a way that's respectful. But she's writing about things which aren't necessarily about black culture. And I just don't like this idea of saying to somebody, only write about what you know, because then you're just putting everybody into boxes and saying, well, you're black, you only get to write about black culture because that's what you know, and you don't know white culture. And then there's no mixing, is there? When that's ridiculous. Because I want to know what a black writer is going to write about in terms of, I don't know, science fiction or fantasy, and get their take on it. Because most fantasy is established by white men, which is purely made up. You've got to look at, or white women, Harry Potter, where you've got J.K. Rowling, you've got J.R. Tolkien, you've got George R.R. Martin. Like, I wouldn't want to read fantasy that's just dominated by those three people, but it certainly feels like it already is dominated by those three people, because no one shuts the fuck up about Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, or Lord of the Rings. So where's the black fantasy? I kind of want to hear that from black writers. Beatrice says it's a good thing. It's a thing. American storytelling podcast I listen to always makes a point to acknowledge the land they work on is occupied land, and they list specific tribes. Right. Now, I think I've made my point. I'm still going to write about it, but I'm going to try and get someone's perspective on it, because as far as I'm concerned, even if I'm faithful, someone's going to complain anyway, because you're not an Indian. You're not Native American. You're not First Nations. Someone's going to complain anyway. So why should I worry about that aspect to it? All I need to worry about is to make it faithful, because the story is trying to be faithful to Star Trek anyway. And it would be kind of ridiculous to not include anything from Indian culture or North American, Native American culture in the story. I'll just skip all that. For what reason? Because he was done over in the show anyway, and they fucked up his character background and just made it really vague. And I want to correct for that. Now, some people can say, well, who are you to correct that? Well, I'm someone who's passionate about doing it properly, and that should be enough, really. The second thing I was told was that some things are meant to be shared. Yes, I get that, but what I'm asking isn't very personal. And if I can find it for sale, and if I can find it on YouTube, it looks like people want to share it anyway. And all I'm asking for is to contribute to what's already being shared. I'm not asking for the deepest, darkest secrets or lightest secrets or what's the other word? Enlightened secrets of a particular culture. I'm just asking questions about the very basics in order to get the story done. So that for me is something that I'm going through at the moment with this writing, which when it's finished, you'll never come across. I'm not talking about the communist. Leave me alone. The other thing is, where is it? I've got this link here because it blew my mind in terms of how to avoid. Basically, the article says 21 things you can do to be more respectful of Native American cultures. And I go through this, I've read through this list, and I feel like shooting myself in the head in terms of how are people this dumb or disrespectful to a culture? And I feel like this isn't meant for me. And so let's flip this on its head, where people are going to sort of look down on other people who aren't Native American, and stereotype them and say, you're coming from a position of ignorance, where I just want to understand it. Because there are so many idiots out there who say certain things, like number 3, never ask anyone if they're an enrolled member. I have no idea what that means, but that is supposed to be offensive. Avoid saying things that diminish or disparage native culture. Well, of course, don't say things like, let's have a powwow, or lowest person on the totem pole, or too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Indian giver, circle the wagons. These phrases are disrespectful. I would never say these things because these are not part of my lexicon. Number 6, don't play Indian, as in don't play cowboys and Indians. Okay. Let's have a look. What are the other ones? Don't assume that tribal people get money from casinos. Don't expect every cultural custom will be explained to you. Well, yeah, I get that. Be sensitive during meal times. Don't say costume when referring to native dance outfits and traditional wear. Don't assume Native Americans have high rates of alcoholism. Don't tokenize people. Don't bring up the land bridge theory, which is interesting because if you go to NPR, National Geographic, the first paragraph brings up the land bridge theory. And I'm like, bro, have you not read nonprofitaf.com yet? Don't bring up the land bridge theory. And then it says check your white privilege, which to me is just ridiculous because I don't think white privilege is a thing that is applicable to everybody. It's just not. I just don't believe it. But there we are. Let's catch up on the comments. Not all Native Americans are drunks. Exactly. Pocahontas. Did she ever have any sip of alcohol in that Disney movie? And you know Disney movies are full of tropes and stereotypes. But did she drink? No. Don't yell and slap your hand over your mouth. You guys are terrible. The racists. So disrespectful. Anyway, to me, it just seems obvious and brain dead. But asking questions shouldn't be offensive. But you've got to ask to know the boundaries in the first place. You can't just avoid it. But there we are. That's the thing I'm sort of balls deep in with at the moment. We have contacted different people from different parts of the internet trying to get an in on a perspective from asking them the simplest questions on this very sensitive topic. It's not a theory, is archaeology, says Andrew Parker. What do you mean? I mean, if archaeology says something and you can verify it, then it's true. But let's say the land bridge theory can be proved. Well, if it's true, why is that offensive? Am I being offensive now by asking why it's offensive? No, that wasn't me. If that's the fact of the matter, then shouldn't that be it? I mean, it's not offensive to want to find out where you came from or where other people came from. But if you... Okay. Let me see if closing the window will help. A little bit. So for those that don't know, I've got some people up here who have been drilling for months, and then they go through a spell where they just don't drill for weeks, and then they start again. And it's like, what exactly are you doing in this little apartment? If you saw the size of mine, if you remember the size of mine, it's exactly the same. How much drilling do you need to do? I don't get it. But maybe they don't care. Maybe they don't care about that, and they want their stories to be fact. But I like the way Buddhism treats science, where it just moves out of the way of science, and it just doesn't have an ego about it. But I'm willing to admit, ironically, that I'm speaking from a position of ignorance on this. So there's that. Right. Well, there's different Andrew Parker. There's different theories as to where they came from. And I have been doing research on that. If we go to, let me go to Wikipedia. I'll find it for you because there's a really interesting theory. Iriquois. Sorry, I should know how to spell Iriquois by now. Here we go. It's one of the 5 nations of the Iroquois. Sorry, 6 nations of the Iroquois people. I think it was the Oneida. Look at me name dropping. No, not the Oneida. I mean, for example, here's something that could be seen as ignorant, but I'm not going to be ignorant about it. So the Oneida people are also referred to as the people of the standing stone. And this identity is based on ancient legend. The Oneida people, this is what it says on Wikipedia, were being pursued on foot by an enemy tribe. As their enemies chased the Oneida into a clearing within the woodlands, they suddenly disappeared. The enemy could not find them, and so it was said that the Oneida had shapeshifted into the stones that stood in the clearing. As a result, they became known as the people of the standing stone. That's on Wikipedia without a reference. I would think somebody would put a reference to that, because when I type Oneida people into the browser and just look for general information about the Oneida, I can't find a reference to this idea. If I type in people of the standing stone, it's not explained in succinctly as that I've read here. So I'm scared of using this as a reference for my fiction. Okay, I'm not just going to throw it in. Anyway, I need to find out. That's so it's not the Oneida people. Maybe it's the Onondaga. The Onondaga people. No. The Cayuga. Let's have a look. Cayuga. I don't want to butcher it. This is why I'm taking the time to find it. So maybe it's the Seneca. Sorry, but I want to do it properly. I don't want to point out the contradiction of saying don't be respectful, and then not be respectful by mentioning this creation story. Okay, I need to go to YouTube again. What do you mean, Beatrice? So Beatrice 55577 says the awareness pendulum is swinging on an outward trajectory right now. Paula asks, why not just contact someone who's NA? Oh, wow. You've abbreviated them, bro, and ask your questions. That's what I am trying to do. Let's go to my history. I've got it as a YouTube video in the history. Okay, so it's an Iroquois creation myth. Okay, I'm not going to play it to the full degree, but maybe there's a... Skip this. Justin says, I have a couple of friends who are American Indian, are generally really nice, but I learned early on that I can't discuss these kinds of things with them, very touchy. If you could put them in contact with me, Justin, I would love that, please, because I've got to pick a tribe for this character to make it relevant. You can't, because I've got various songs, but I can't just use them and throw them in, right? So I'm looking at this video here, and in this sky world, there lived the sky caretaker and his wife, the sky woman. That's what it's saying here, okay? With this video, I'll drop it into the chat, and then I'll freeze your YouTube videos. Right, there you go. This is what I'm watching. They lived in a lodge by the great tree of light, which illuminated their world through its brightly glowing flowers. I'm going to put this on ×2 speed. Boom. One day, a great wind burst through the sky world and ripped the tree of light out of the ground. The light was gone, and all that remained was a vast hole. The sky woman accidentally fell through the hole. She fell for miles and miles, and was about to plunge into the endless waters below when a fish hawk spotted her and caught her in his wings. It says miles and miles. Did the Native Americans have the imperial system? But I digress. So this skyhawk catches her. The woman was too heavy for the hawk, and he started sinking towards the waters. And luckily, a great sea turtle saw the pair faltering towards the water. He offered his back for the woman to live, but the woman needed earth under her feet, so she asked the animals of the endless waters for help. None of the animals could dive deeper than the muskrat, so he was called on to swim to the depths, and he swam all the way to the bottom of the endless waters. Can't be. And then endless waters have some mud at the bottom, so they're not exactly endless waters. He scooped up as much as he could and returned to the surface. Jonathan, you're being disrespectful now. You said endless waters and you're mocking it. All the animals helped spread the earth onto the turtle's back. As the animals worked, the Sky Woman began to walk in counterclockwise circles around the turtle's back. As she walked, the turtle began to grow. The woman walked in larger and larger circles around the turtle's back, and the turtle grew and grew and grew. Finally, the turtle was the size of the earth as we know today. So that is the creation story from the Iriquois people. Okay? You can watch the rest of it. It's only 4 minutes, but on times 2, you can bang it out in 2 minutes. I have a friend, Beatrice says, who is trying so hard not to appropriate other cultures in her life, and she gets mad if anyone does it, even if it's done accidentally. That seems like a minefield that you can't avoid anymore, because all of our cultures are interwoven and linked together. I don't understand how you can do that, but there we are. Okay, the video. Well, the video, it just shows as highlighted for me when you type my name. Oh, you're talking to Paula at replying each other. Yeah, a lot of creation stories will talk about the turtle. There's more than one. But anyway, Andrew, that's their legend, their ancient legend about how the earth was created under them. I mean, I like that story. It's a beautiful story. But I would like to know the scientific fact about not how the earth is created, but how we made it to North America. Because in a sense, by doing that, we're discovering ourselves, aren't we? Because we ultimately, we all believe that we all came from Africa. But how did we leave Africa? I know some went to Europe, and some went east, and then some went maybe west, I don't know. And then some, like the Polynesians, they sailed over the waters. But how did we get to North America? I would love to know that. But it shouldn't be offensive, because no one takes offense. Well, sorry, there's a few racists that take offense at, well, I'm not a monkey. I didn't come from a monkey, and my granddad didn't come from a monkey. And it's like, well, yeah, but if you go back far enough, one of your family came from a fucking monkey. Sorry, an ape of some kind, which bridges the divide between gorillas and chimpanzees and bonobos into us. There is one animal that we all came from. But I don't find any offense in that, and other countries don't find offense in that. So I don't get why particular cultures have to find offense if you're going to say, well, science is contradicting our creation story. Okay. Bro, this is why we have citations. This is why we have references. This is why we don't have an oral history, bro. This is why we don't sing our songs, because they'll get butchered, Chinese whisper style. We left Africa on a turtle. Possibly. Okay. I think I'm about done. I don't have anything else to share with you. I just wanted to just go through the pains of trying to explore Native American culture with you. How do we know someone dropped off by space people? You know, David Davison. They do think that Octopus came from outer space, because they're so different to everything else on this planet that they might have been microbes that have made it to the ocean. And there is a theory which could upset the octopi if they ever develop mental cognition where we can understand what they're fucking saying. And then they can get offended. But supposedly they came from outer space because they're so different to everything else. So make of that what you will. You never answered my question about the picture behind you, says Beatrice577. Let me scroll up, because I can check the comments, Beatrice. Okay, well, you've got a profile picture, so that helps. I'm scrolling. I see your poop emoji comment. When did you ask? Was it even in this live stream? Maybe you should call me when you're going live, because I didn't get the notifications. Well, Tony Ford, I appreciate the enthusiasm. I should have scheduled this, but I've had a schedule change, for work purposes, and I thought I'd just bang one out. And I thought I could just throw out a link on YouTube and Twitter and be done with it. But you're right. I need to schedule it, and then you'll get the notification. Adam Fairhurst says aliens made us. Adam Fairhurst. Adam. Oh, wait there. No. Adam Hale is my co-host on the podcast. Sorry, I thought you was the other Adam. Very early in chat. Basically, you want to know about this picture. What do you want to know about this picture? They think me eating plants might be extraterrestrial. I don't believe that. Adam Fairhurst. No, Adam. I know your second name from somewhere. You have to remind me. I don't think. Did we meet on Periscope or did we meet in real life? I have an idea that we met in real life, probably from Swansea, but I could be wrong. Is it an atomic bomb going off? Are we researching into Star Trek Voyager characters? Yes, Chakotay, Kevin. This is. You think this is an atomic bomb going off? I saw this for 50 Hong Kong dollars, and there was a class, and I bought it. But now that you've given me the atomic reference, it does, to me, it's always looked like a woman. Okay, but now that you've included this idea of atomic, I now think that this is a woman getting a blast in the face from an A-bomb, and she's getting nuked right now. Think of like the beginning of Terminator 2 with the what's his name on the chain in the playground. Okay, and she's like, wake up, and she's getting nuked. That is very evocative. Thank you, Beatrice. You've just changed my whole entire perspective about this picture. It's a woman getting nuked. This promotes violence, whereas before I thought this was just a lovely picture of a woman with a very shapely figure, very shapely, ambiguous figure. But now it's a violent act against women, which means I'm a sadomasochist of some kind because I like to watch women getting fucking nuked. Which, by the way, YouTube can let me do that because I can go and watch that scene from Terminator 2. Right. What's this? Let me just catch up. Just my name other than Hale. Adam, is it really you? Oh, okay. So it is my co-host, right? Why have you got two fucking names? Are you trying to marry two different women? I don't get it. Just my name other than right. Leave a link on Instagram stories or reels. Yeah, I've got to do the Instagram thing. How is it going compared to Periscope? I like it. It does. A fucking snowman getting nuked. I like it. I like the I like all the ambiguous comments. I like it. It's a snow woman getting nuked. Right, no more interpretation. We've solved it now. I got my $50 worth out of this fucking picture today. Thank you, Beatrice. Let's have a look at it. How's it going compared to Periscope? Venture Play. I don't know who you are on Periscope or who you were on Periscope, but please do tell me. I enjoy YouTube, actually. What I miss is doing something like this and talking with you, which I can't really do so much. But I have noticed, I'm trying to analyze and overanalyze how I'm doing things on YouTube. But I have noticed that if I am walking around, we don't get this kind of conversation for people in the chat. You just sit back and listen to what I'm talking about. Whereas if it's here, you are actually engaging with the chat. And this is an engaging chat considering we've only got 9 people here compared to Periscope where we had so many more. The other Pete. What, you mean second Pete? Fuck. I'll catch up with all this eventually. Okay. Shall we leave it there? And then I can do the timestamps for the replay scrubs. Going to try the chat room thingy in Twitter. Well, I don't know what you mean, Beatrice. Okay, so there we are. Live stream tomorrow. And there'll be a couple of edited videos coming out hopefully this week as well. Okay. One of them is a zero waste video. I just want to get a fucking Hadouken. Go boom. Just fucking fuck off. Up the wall. They weren't drilling, but as soon as I typed the link on YouTube, on Twitter, and said I'm live streaming, then they started drilling. I was like, fuck. What was I saying? I don't know about the time, but it'll be roughly after 11 a.m. Hong Kong time, which is, I don't know what time is it there where you are now, since it's 11 o'clock here practically in New York. We don't care about the Europeans because the Europeans don't care about me. Please tell me. But that's basically roughly just a little bit after. I've got to get there, obviously, where I'll do the live stream. It'll be on the west side of Hong Kong Island, hopefully, or on the Kowloon side. Update the citronas. Oh, there will be another gardening video. I've already shot some of it for May to going into June. And in fact, my citrona, my last one is outside. It was over here. But it's outside now. I've got to bring it in. I'll check on them right now. Okay, so I'm 12 hours ahead of you. So in about 24 hours. Okay. Right. This drilling is doing my head in for the purposes of this video. So I'm going to go. Thank you for watching, as always. And I'll see you very soon in the next video. Okay. I'm ending the stream now. I'll see you all later. Thank you for turning up. Bye.